Hey guys, Alex is coming at you guys with another video. Today I'm just going to be doing an Ultraman R/B podcast. Anyway, I hope you guys kind of like these 1980s retro thumbnails that I'm doing and pictures that I'm using for my videos. I just kind of like the style of the purples and the reds and the really vibrant neon colors. But anyway, just let me know if you like them. I honestly think it gives a nice spin. I've been seeing it all the time, and such. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about Ultraman R/B, which is the current Ultraman series, and let's begin. So, I honestly think the series is pretty mediocre so far. I've only seen the first four episodes. I haven't seen the fifth episode. Granted, I don't think anyone in the US of A, land of the free, land of the democracy, have seen the fifth episode either because it's blocked. And I could probably find it on some random website, but you know what? I'm too lazy right now. I just want to wait right now. I just want to talk about the four episodes. I know in the fifth episode they get a wind purple form. Really nice. I've never seen a purple Ultraman before, or maybe I have and I'm just forgetting because Ultraman R/B is taking away my IQ slowly by the moment. But anyway, I want to talk about the first episode, and the first episode has Grugio Bone, or Grigio, or Grigio, or Grugio. I don't even know how you pronounce the name anymore. Because, you see, everyone, whenever they watch these shows, they always think they have to pronounce it the Japanese way. But honestly, if we all really pronounce things the Japanese way, we wouldn't say Ultraman, we would say Ultraman. If we were pronouncing things the Japanese way, we wouldn't say Godzilla, we would say Gojira. And instead of Gamera, we would say Gamera or something like that. So we're not always pronouncing things the Japanese way. And a lot of the characters in Ultraman aren't even based off of Japanese words. Like Zoffy, don't you mean Sophie? Not funny because Zoffy isn't a girl. Anyway, just wanted to talk about Grugio Bone. Grugio Bone, just a generic dinosaur monster like Damaga, Golza, and Bemular. In fact, a future episode pretty much rips off Bemular's origin for Grugio Bone. If you're gonna make this dinosaur monster that has a form of fire just like Bemular, also comes from space, is tied in with your main character Ultra origin story, why not just make it Bemular? It's pretty Grugio Bone is pretty much Bemular. Think about it like this. So they both come from space. They both come in the form of an asteroid on Earth. They both land in a rural area. Grugio Bone is the natural enemy of the two Ultras because they were both coming from space. Grugio Bone and Bemular can both breathe a flame attack, with Bemular being like, blue radiation, Grugio Bone being fire. They're both the first opponent for the Ultraman, you know? They're pretty much the same character. Why not make Grugio Bone Bemular? If anything, it would have been really cool to see Bemular. Granted, he was an Ultraman Orb, but still, it just would have been something a bit nostalgic since you don't seem to have to problem since you don't seem to have a problem with bringing back Black King and Red King. Why not bring back Bemular? But no, instead you make this Grugio Bone monster. Instead of making him an original character, you pretty much make him Bemular 2.0, just with an revamped design and for the cool kids, I guess. But Grugio Bone, he's okay. Not too much I can really say about him. The first episode feels pretty alright. Our main characters get their forms, and I feel like it's a really goofy series. Like, when Grugio Bone appears, Blue's human host, whose name I can't even remember because I can't remember the character's name right now. I probably should have written it down on the paper. But Blue's human host is, or one of them is like, oh, should I start running right now? It's a monster. It's like, no, you should start running right now. And one of them even takes a bicycle to run away from the monster. I mean, what kind of area? Never once in real life have I seen a place where you get a free bicycle. First of all, if everyone's evacuating from Grugio Bone, why didn't anyone take that bicycle? Second of all, why do you just have a free bicycle in the middle of the park? And then third of all, why didn't the monster destroy the bicycle with that flame breath when you clearly got hit with the flame breath? It just doesn't make sense. Like, he's riding a bicycle away from the monster. It just seems really goofy. It takes away any sort of fear and terror that you're supposed to have. But from the way that I'm watching Ultraman RSSB, it doesn't even feel like a legitimate Ultraman series. It feels more like a parody of what an Ultraman series is because it clearly plays on the tropes of past shows. You have a monster from space, you have an Ultraman character. Instead, it tries to play a little twist where you have two Ultraman characters. And honestly, Rosso and Blue, in my opinion, are really underwhelming in their fights. They easily get defeated by Grugio Bone a couple of times. There's even one part where they have to look at each other, and then Grugio Bone is standing right there. Anyone who's seen the first episode knows this iconic scene. and then just like, oh, the monster's right in front of us. Ah, ooh, we're scared. Ah, not good. And then they finally destroy Grugio Bone with their special abilities once they switch the crystals. And then boom, Grugio Bone's gone, or Grigio, whatever name you want to call this generic Bemular discount. But anyway, let's go to the second episode. Second episode is Black King. I almost forgot Black King was in the second episode. Because honestly, I'm not used to Black King coming this early. Ultraman Orb and Ultraman X brought Black King in like their 8th or ninth episodes. No, just bring Black King in the second episode. Remember when Black King used to be one of the biggest threats of the Showa era to Ultraman Jack, where he needed a two-part with Knuckle? He was in 39 and 40. Remember that? When Black King was actually a sizable monster, a big threat, a powerful brute that could probably even match Godzilla, potentially. Now he's just a throwaway monster for the second episode of an Ultraman show. Granted, Black King still gives a pretty tough challenge for Ultraman, Rosso, and Blue, but then again, I think anyone really could. And the thing is about Black King is that in this episode, they have a bigger role for the sister, and the sister, of course, she tries to help Blue's human host. It's really touching, I guess, you know. And she says, oh, if you can't solve something on your own, you have to get someone else to do it. But that's not really how real life works necessarily. There are going to be lots of times where you can't always rely on somebody. You have to do things independently. But I guess in the world of Ultraman, we live in this kid-friendly era where we can't really show the true tales of reality, even though past Ultraman shows do give an insight into reality. So it's trying to create this false propaganda message that you can always have someone there to help you. Anyway, that was really that for that one. Anyway, Black King, of course, he gives them a tough fight, and the dad, he's a primary character in the show. He always thinks he knows what's good for fashion trends, but he doesn't. Well, at least in the eyes of Rosso and Blue, honestly, I don't see any problems with the shirts that the dad designs. Like the shirt where it shows the Earth like flying up into space. It's kind of metaphorical to how the Ultras fly into space, or with like the riding into the waves. You know, I honestly think they are good metaphors for the Ultraman characters. They could probably be marketed that way. That like, oh, look at these exclusive shirts to celebrate the Ultraman and their victory. But instead, they get shot down easily, and I kind of feel bad for the dad character because he's just trying to simply increase his productivity, but then he gets shot down by all of his family members and kids. Really sucks. And then the third episode, that's where they bring Gargagon. Now, remember when Gargagon needed her own two-part storyline where she actually. Remember when Gargagon was her own independent sentient character? I'm talking about this character like she's a feminist. Remember when Gargagon was her own independent personality woman? And then now she's been subsidized to this generic woman that has no personality. I mean, I remember in Ultraman X, she wanted to take over the Earth and such and turn everyone to stone. And Ultraman X had to stop Gargagon, but then he got turned to stone. Kind of like Medusa and Prometheus and whatever. I don't know. But, you know, it just happens. Gargagon dies. You know, it just kind of happens with it. Gargagon, she just dies, and it just feels a little bit underwhelming that you brought this monster so soon, only to be killed so quickly. And overall, I kind of like the episode though, because they actually visit Eisentech, and you get to hear a little bit of backstory for Eisen. You know, his father, I believe, or I don't know, some his relatives started the business originally as an iron maintenance facility, but then he had to expand it and make it globalized, which I kind of like. And actually, I just realized something. Is it me, or is Ultraman becoming a metaphor for the conflict between the United States with Democrats and Republicans, the upper class versus the lower class? I mean, just hear me out real quick. I just thought about this. So, first of all, have you noticed that all of the Ultraman protagonists, well, excluding X, of course, have you noticed that, and including Ultraman Nexus as well, characters like Ultraman Nexus or Ultraman Orb, Ultraman Geed, and now Ultraman Rube, have you noticed that all these characters are low-income characters? You know, they generally don't have homes. Most of them don't even have jobs. They don't really have that many supporting family members. They don't get money. They're low on money. They don't have a lot of food. And they generally aren't very successful people. But then take a look at the Ultraman villains nowadays. They all wear suits, they all run businesses, and they're all successful people. If you look at Riku, he's pretty much a hobo. He all he did was live in his friend's store. Now granted his friend was pretty poor himself. He just ran like a convenience store, but at least he had a business to establish himself with. Riku pretty much had no business. He was just living in someone's store upstairs. And then as soon as that place gets destroyed, he's pretty much homeless. And then look at Guy. Guy is just a hobo with a harmonica walking around the streets of Japan playing the same melody over and over. And then look at Rube's human hosts. They're just people who run a cheap biz clothing store that doesn't even get much customer service. The dad was so concerned about getting 3 shirt sales because he probably realizes that they're not getting a lot of sales. So you notice that all these Ultraman characters are low income, unsuccessful people, yet they get chosen by the light for some unknown reason because of their quote unquote courage and character. And then look at the Ultraman villains. Douglas Juggler, a well accomplished man who's able to afford a fancy dinner. The episode where they eat with Naomi's mother, he's able to afford himself a fancy dinner at a fancy restaurant, something that most of the characters had a hard time doing. He's able to wear a nice pair of suits all the time. And then look at Kai Fukude. He's wearing a suit too. And he's a very successful author as well. And then you have Aizen, who's probably the most successful. He runs a global technical industry where he's innovative and technology around not only Japan but the entire world. So it almost feels like Ultraman is becoming a metaphor for the conflict between the upper, middle, and the lower class. Republicans versus Democrats, because the villains are like Republicans and the heroes are like Democrats. I just realized that. And he also thought Juggler was pretty bad with his suits. Well, look at his monsters. MAGA Orochi. What does MAGA mean? Make America Great Again. What is Ultraman and Tsuburaya trying to tell us? This is actually kind of scary, when you think about it. It's pretty unsettling. Anyway, 3rd episode. I kind of liked it because you got to see more into Aizen's character. He's able to go more in depth about his company. And I'm not sure whether to like him or hate him. I kind of like him because he's a bit of a switcheroo character. There are moments where he's really joyful and he's the happiest person out there. But then there are moments where he's really serious and his voice gets really low and serious. And you can tell that he's very tense at that moment. So I kind of like him, but at the same time I kind of don't. It's a little bit weird in my opinion. And it's just kind of there with Aizen. He's just there. And then the 4th episode. What happened in the 4th episode? Oh yeah, Red King's there. But the thing is that Razo's human host is in a baseball team. I don't know what this baseball team subplot, it came out of left field. Get it? It came out of left field. Because when you play baseball, you gotta run to left field on the 4th base. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry, these jokes are bad. You see, this is what Ultraman Rube, RB, R&B the Blues, because Ultraman Blue, Ultraman the Blues. Oh, these jokes are bad. I need to stop. You see, this is what this mediocre show is doing to me. It's ruining my thought process. I can't even think anymore because the show is so mediocre that everything about me is just going away. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just there. With this show, it's just a show that's there, honestly. I don't know how else I can say that. It's really bad. The show's not bad, but it's really bad in terms of how I'm putting it. But anyway, there's this whole subplot about the baseball team. The baseball team comes out of left field. I have no idea where this baseball team comes from. There's no establishment. At least with Ultraman Dyna and with Ultraman Dyna, it was established that he liked playing baseball with his dad. And that's why whenever Ultraman Dyna throws one of his attacks, he looks like a baseball that he's throwing. Because at least it was established with his human host, Asuka. Wait, was that his name? I don't even know. You see, Ultraman RB, it's just causing me to forget things, I'm literally forgetting a lot of things because the show was just and now my brain's becoming But anyway, at least with Dyna was well established that he liked baseball along with his father, so that gave us a reason Well, the Ultraman Rube, it just the baseball team comes out of nowhere. It wasn't in any of the previous episodes, and I'm gonna bet you that that baseball team is not gonna be in any more future episodes. Maybe the final episode where they need all the main characters to come back from previous episodes. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for that one, but I doubt they're ever gonna come back potentially. And Ultraman X had a kind of similar plot, but at least it wasn't with one of their main characters. It was with a side character who was like related to one of the main characters of Zeo. So at least it had justification for not coming back. But literally, the second main character, or if not the first main character, technically, is a part of this team, and this team never appeared in any of the previous episodes, and I doubt it's going to ever appear again. But I did like the old man. The old man was pretty nice, you know. He said, "Oh, if I continue to play baseball, I'll get stomach surgery." So that's not good. And then he has to give them one last send off. And even though the baseball team loses to their rivals, at least they gave it their all. But also, in all seriousness, oh my goodness, I can't even speak right now. This is what it actually, maybe it's not even the show. Maybe it's because of how late it is. It's literally 12:48 a.m. It's almost 1. Maybe that's why I can't think right now, because I'm just so tired. Anyway, maybe that's the reason why, that's happening to me. But in all seriousness, though, who has a baseball game when there's a giant monster appearing literally a couple miles away from you? City should have been evacuated. What if Ultraman Rube and what if Ultraman Rosso and Blue can't defeat Red King like they did the first time where they lost to him, and then Red King makes it to the city? Then what are you gonna do? You didn't have enough time to evacuate. Anyway, that's happening, and they defeat Red King. And I gotta say, it was nice seeing Red King come back. It was nice seeing him kind of have a momentary victory. Apparently, Red King is stronger than Black King, Gargagon, and the new Gugio Bone, because he actually defeated Ultraman Rosso and Blue in the first fight. So, yeah, now if anyone ever tries to doubt Red King again, I'll say, oh, you like Gargagon? Red King could defeat Gargagon, apparently. And he could defeat Black King. Wow, I can't believe Ultraman Rosso and Blue just proved that. That's incredible. But anyway, that's just how it's going right now with the series. The series is meh. It's mediocre. It's causing my brain to die right now. It's not bad. I don't think any of these Ultraman series are that bad. I mean, if there's something I will say is that some of the CGI and green screen effects look like they've kind of gone down. Like, compared to Ginga, it looks like... Ginga especially? Wait, was that a joke that he ever used? Was that like a power-up? I don't even remember anymore. I don't even know. But I feel like what would have made this series better is if Rosso and Blue didn't have to use previous Ultras. Kind of like, Ultraman Tiga and Ultraman Mebius. Remember when Mebius could just go from regular to Phoenix Brave and stuff? He would just have the fire abilities, but he wouldn't have to necessarily use a previous Ultraman spirit or essence to transform. What's the worst part about it is that it's almost like they could do that where it's just natural for them to do it. I feel like that would have been a really cool concept, because, wait a minute, now that I think about it, if Rosso and Blue don't have Taro or Genghis crystals or any of the other Zero crystals or anything like that, then what would they transform into? Like, what would they be without the crystals if they can't use the elements? Like, would they just be generic Ultras with armor? That's a question that I just thought about. And I personally think it would have been a lot better, me personally, if they were just Ultras and they naturally had the elements. I feel like that would have been a really cool concept. And actually, this was a concept that I had last year, because I was, not to self-promote anything like that, I'm probably never going to get back to this thing, but on the Ultrafan wiki, I decided, you know what, I'm going to temporarily write my own Ultraman character, and my own Ultraman character could use the abilities of Ice, but it wasn't something where it just happened with a previous Ultraman. It was more of, they could naturally do it because they were a different Ultra origin or something like that. And I feel like that would have been a lot better if the Ultras could just naturally use fire and water and switch between them rather than use a crystal, because first of all, I don't even understand how Ginga resorts to water. Ginga doesn't even really use water. If anything, he used Fireball with the meteor attacks and stuff and the Thunderbolts. So I don't understand how Ginga really used water. Maybe I just overlooked it or something like that, but it just seems out of place for me. But then again, I don't think any of the Ultras really use water. Actually, probably could have used Agul for that. Or Cosmos. That would have been a lot more fitting than Genga, but they had to bring Genga because that's That's the new generation. That's what the kids like. It's like if you grew up with Ginga and you're 5, now you're 10. Now you're gonna watch Rube. Makes sense. That's why they call it new generations, for the new generation of kids. Yeah, that's where we're going with this. This is what we've come down to. The Ultraman Taro's here. I don't know why. Taro's just there. Like, couldn't Leo or Mebius also have fit into the fire category? Actually, that would have been really cool, using Ginga and Mebius side by side as the crystals. But no, we just have to use Taro because, Gingastorium or Gingamstrium. We're probably never going to ever see that form of Ginga ever again. That form is just gone. Even though it's literally called Ultraman Ginga S, you're never going to see the Strium Brace or anything like that ever again. It's just gone. You're either going to see regular Ginga or you're going to see Ginga Victory, actually. Yeah, you're probably not going to see Ginga Victory ever again either. Ultra Fight Victory, that was a pretty epic. That was pretty litty, in my opinion. Oh my goodness, the first time I ever used litty in a video. What have I done? This is what Rube has done to me. He's taken everything away from me. This is not even a podcast about Ultraman Rube. This is pretty much mental deterioration on video. Oh man, what am I supposed to do now? Anyway, I think... Okay, let's just make a wrap-up of everything. So, I think the series is pretty good so far. I said pretty good, and I use those terms lightly, because it could always be better. The show is pretty mediocre. I do like the mystery. There's actually a mystery that the show presents, and it's the mystery about their mother. I do kind of like that, because then they find the journal, like the journal with the mother and father, and they have the R/B symbols in there. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, Aizen. Of course, he has a connection to it because the mother actually worked for Aizen, so it kind of brings up some questions. That's the only mystery that really matters at the moment. Everything else is just ridiculous and pointless, in my opinion. I don't know what to think about this series, guys. I'm pretty sure once I rewatch this video, I'm going to think it's really bad. But I'm probably going to want to make an update video. If you guys thought this video was really sloppy, it is, but that's really what I like about these podcasts. I don't have to really think about too much what I'm going to say. I just kind of say, like the Shin Godzilla video, that video took a lot of time for me to just kind of think and just kind of contemplate what I was going to say. But with this one, I just talk, and hopefully people listen to it and either agree or disagree. I know I'm going to have at least someone agree with me that the show is pretty mediocre. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like this video. If you don't, I don't blame you. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye. I just don't know what to say. This series is meh. Bye.